Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tamara, and I am the Paper and Pen Girl. Today, we have Bible reading number 16, I believe it is. We are going to be continuing just the overview of what I have read for this particular video. It's going to be a light overview. For those of you that are new to the channel, I am reading through the Bible and just making a couple notes. I'm not notating everything. I'm not studying everything. This is just reading through and highlighting things that I found to be interesting as I was reading. I am using the YouVersion app. The plan that I'm following is called As It Happened, if you'd like to tag along with that one as well. Please note, I am not on track. I am behind because we're living life while we're trying to read God's word as well. So let's jump in. The last time we stopped off at Deuteronomy 31. We're going to finish up Deuteronomy with 32 and 33 and then continue. So in Deuteronomy 32, it's a very beautiful song from God to his people. I think you all really need to read this one. It tells of God's character and the people's inconsistency, which is the same thing we go through today in 2019, going into 2020. So it is absolutely beautiful. I suggest that you go and read that for yourself. Deuteronomy 33, it's a blessing to the people from Moses before he went up into the mountain to die. And Deuteronomy 34, it just restates that Moses was 120 years old when he died. And one of the thing that we should note when he died is that his eyes was not dim. So what that means is he didn't die because he was sickly or too old or whatever. He just went to rest. God wanted to give his servant rest. And so his time, it was enough work that he had done. So God wanted to give him rest. He died in the land of Moab, Moab, and no one knows where his grave is or his sepulcher is. Then we roll over to Psalms 91. This reading plan does not, well, for the most part, it goes in chapter order, but it also goes, it says, as it happened. So it goes in chronological order. Psalms 91 is like one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. Read the whole thing. Read the whole thing. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the wings of the Almighty. Is really just such a beautiful thing, letting you know that if you are under God's wing, you're under security. You will be taken care of. If you are following the instructions given to you by God, you'll be taken care of. Now we roll over into Joshua. Joshua is the person who has taken over from Moses. God, in Joshua 1, God restates his promise to Joshua as he did to Moses. He told the people, Joshua told the people to get ready to go over the Jordan into the promised land. We see a transition here from the older generation to the newer generation. So only a very few, I believe it was 2 or 3 individuals that were alive at the time of Moses' reign actually went over to the promised land across the Jordan. Because, you know, the history, the older people were complaining, etc., etc. Did you bring us out of Egypt to come die in this desert? And so the Lord was like, as it has come out of your mouth, you shall die in this desert. And I'm not laughing because it's funny, but just to say we have to be so careful with the words that come out of our mouth, because we can be the ones causing our own selves to not receive or see the blessing that God has in store for us. So we've got to be careful. And so Joshua told the people, all right, get yourself together, get yourself ready. We're heading over into the promised land. Joshua sent out men to spy out the land, which was Jericho, that they were going to go into after they got over. They went to Rahab's place. Y'all know the story. Rahab hit them. They made a promise to her: we're going to save you and your family. Only the ones that's in your house. If they're not in your house and they go outside, we will not be held responsible. Put down the scarlet scarf that you let us down with in your window. Bam. That's the story. So read that story for yourself if you have not read that before. Very interesting story of promises that were made and kept as well. So Joshua 3, it says, the people pass over the Jordan on dry land before the ark of God, right? So the Ark of the Covenant. Let me see. God lifted up Joshua in the sight of the people. Lifted up meaning he magnified him. And by the way that he did that was Moses was able to take the people across the Red Sea, right? And so now Joshua has taken them across the Jordan. And so the same privilege that was given to Moses was also given to Joshua. So here we see God also sharing the miracles that he had for the previous generation, that he has done in their sight in the previous generation, with the new generation as well. And magnifying Joshua as a person who is as great as Moses. Sometimes what tends to happen is, well, mom is not as great as dad, or dad's not as great as mom, or the vice president is not as great as the president of the company that you work with. And so greater respect is given to one than the other. God wanted them to know that, that's not how it works here. You know, they both are magnified in my sight. And so in Joshua 4, 12 men, which is one from each tribe. You will always see that throughout the theme of the Bible in the tribes of Israel. So 12 men were asked to take up stones from the midst of the Jordan where they walked over on dry land. Make sure you read to find out what they did with the stones. I'm not going to give you all the secrets. So here on Joshua 5, the hearts of the kings melted when they heard what God had done. When they heard that God had dried up the Jordan, these people are coming for us. So their hearts melted. Joshua circumcised all the men that were in the camp. Why? Because on the other side of the Jordan, the older generation were circumcised. The newer generation were born while they were in the wilderness, etc. And, of course, young when they came out of Egypt. And so, they weren't circumcised. So they got circumcised. And of course, that particular time, that circumcision was a covenant or a sign. So read on that. Research, y'all. Y'all got to do some research as well. Please, let me put my disclaimer in here. I am a regular human being woman. Sometimes I may have something in my mind to say, but it comes out differently in my mouth. So please make sure that you're reading for yourself so you get clarification on things here. Sometimes I think I say one word, but I actually say another. Has that happened to you before? I know it probably has. So make sure that you are reading for yourself. That's why I promote that, so you can get the exact idea of it. Okay, so where were we? Joshua 5. We haven't finished. Joshua was visited by a man holding a sword, which is the captain of the host of the Lord. And they spoke, read, and you find out what they spoke about. So Joshua chapter 6, instruction was given on how to conquer Jericho. This is the story of the trumpets, right? And walking around the wall, and how many times they had to walk around it, and how many times per day, and etc. Make sure you guys read the story. It makes a great bedtime story for your children. Verse 26, it says, and Joshua advised, what did he do? Hold on, y'all. Them at the time, saving. Okay, and Joshua adjured them at the time, saying, cursed be the man before the Lord that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in its youngest shall he set the gates of it. Let me just tell y'all about this. So when they destroyed Jericho, that curse was laid upon it. If anybody and someone actually did, if you read the recount, this thing is so deep that this person's son, the first born son, died when he started to rebuild, and when the gates went up, his last son died. So read this, read it. Not it that what I just told you is not in Joshua 6, but it is in the Bible. Right, research it, find it, tell me where it is in the comments down below. So Joshua 7, which is a must read. Achan took the spoils of what he thought was a goodly Babylonish garment and 200 shekels of silver and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels. That's the weight. He said, I coveted them and took them. This was where instructions was given to not take the spoils of war, right? Don't take nothing. And he took those things. Let me just tell you, you got to read this story, because I put a note here. You see it's in orange. How we put our families in danger because of greed or covetousness. Y'all, they all died. Like, by him doing that, the whole camp was called out to go before the Lord, tribe by tribe, family by family, just to see, oh my gosh, was it you? Was it you? Was it you? Who took it? And I believe that God could have pointed out specifically who it was, but God wanted to show the whole camp that you can't hide anything from me. You can't hide anything from God. I gave instructions, you didn't follow it, but you can't hide anything from me. So y'all, this was so deep. This was so deep. This was so deep. It has me just making sure that I'm taking a look at my disobedience and what that could possibly cause my family. Even more so, because yeah, some of it has already done that for me. Let me know if it's done that for you. So now we have Joshua 8, and Joshua 8, it says Joshua went to war with the king, which is the people of Ai, which had a great plan, God's plan. No, I'm sorry. With a great plan, which was God's plan. I'm smudged. I'm sorry. I'm smudged. And so if we go into battle with God's plan, whether it's actually physical fighting, not that we want to physically fight, y'all. Please don't take it as Tamara's telling y'all to physical fight. But when we go into whatever the battle is that we're fighting for our relationship with our children, for our marriage, for our community, for our career, job, whatever it is, you go in with God's plan. Consult God, see what his plan is. That is a great plan. So now we go into Joshua 9, where the people now have come over to the city of, come over the Jordan. Once they came over the Jordan, y'all, everybody was scared. Everybody was scared of them. So there was this group of people, the Hivitites, and they tricked Joshua into making a peace pact with them. They acted as if they were coming from a far distant land, which they were not. And a few days after Joshua made that pact, he found out that he was deceived. I love the fact, because when I was reading this story, then I said to myself, well, how come God didn't advise them that these people were false? But then the Bible answered me, and it says Joshua did not consult God before he accepted this friendship. And so we have to be careful with the friendships that we accept. We need to consult God. God, is this a person who you want to be in my life? Is this a work relationship that you want me to have? We need to consult, but we don't do that nowadays. I don't think we do. Let me know in the comments down below if you do, or if you find that you have not consulted God in your relationships at all. Because I know for me personally, I haven't said, Father God, is this one? So I'm going to try my best to practice doing that. Okay, I want to hurry up so I can wrap up. So they got into the friendship, and because they tricked Joshua, you know the words of Joshua's mouth is very strong. Joshua cursed them into being water drawers and woodcutters for the rest of their generation. Period. Generation on top of generation. So they got a generational curse on them for that deception. And they were okay with that, because they were like, we just wanted our lives. We just wanted to live and to be alive. If it as it pleased you, whatever you want to do with us. Going into Joshua 10, King Adonai Zedek of Jerusalem was very angry with the people of Gibeon, which is the Hittites that made a pact. And so he went to war. He collected a group, five other kings, four other kings, I'm sorry, five of them total, four other kings, to make war with the people of Gideon. And so, yes, the people of Gideon sent word to Joshua, come and help us, please, because these people are gathering against us to kill us. And it said in verse number 8, the Lord said to Joshua, fear not, for I have delivered them into thine hands. None will be left. And also, which was true, hailstones fell from heaven and killed most of them. A lot of them were also killed by the sword. So Joshua spoke to the sun and the moon to stay still and not go down. And it said it was a very great slaughter, because Joshua was like, I need some more sunlight so I can see what I'm doing. You're not getting away. And y'all got to read this story, because this was really good as well. So Joshua, while they were on the hunt for these people, the five kings went into a cave. And y'all got to read the story to figure out what happened with them in the cave, out the cave, back in the cave again. Y'all need to read this story and figure this out. But that was a lot of war going on in those chapters, and chapter 11 is no exception. Joshua 11, more kings, after they heard what happened to the first five kings, more kings gathered together as a mighty army to come against Joshua and the children of Israel. But God said, don't worry, don't let your heart be troubled, because we're going to utterly destroy them. And that's exactly what happened in Joshua 11. So it said that Joshua and the children of Israel fought for a long time. None of these cities made peace with them, excepting for the one that tricked them into it. After they took the whole land over, right, they rested from war. I love it. I love it. And I think a lot of times that for me was very, very valid and valuable, because after we do things, after we go home from work, we need to rest. After we do things in our life, after we conquer goals, after we do all this stuff, take the time out to rest, because it's a war out here. It's a war out here every day to be able to do the right thing. And so that ends this video number 16. I will catch up to you next time, where I will start off with Joshua 12, and I will see you all on the next video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch these videos and listen as well. Bye-bye.